yeah, they killed Dodge. Does she have a sister? And Bruce Maddox tells him where she is and tells him her name and everything. And they keep going to shots of Agnes. And it's almost like, because, she didn't know that they were pairs, that there was going to be two girls and all that kind of thing necessarily whenever they first started talking about it. And then when he asks if there's a sister, you see her face and she's just kind of like, like listening. And I think that once they say all of that stuff, it clicks with her that what she was shown was real. Mm. Like the stuff that she was told it's probably going to really happen because
it's almost like a trigger for her.
Yeah.
Like it almost like triggered her like it's like saying the code words to the Winter Soldier to get him to, for all you comic fans out there. It's like saying those code words to the Winter Soldier to activate him.
But she was very much still emotionally present in that moment, which kind of threw me off.
Right.
It threw me off. And also it was like, because of that happening, her being very emotionally present in that moment and going through those emotions and crying and still having to go through with this, I was thinking to myself, like, she almost, this is the same person that struggled to punch a virtual robot in the face, doesn't like violence, doesn't want to punch. And like, here she is doing this. I'm trying to put all this together so that it makes sense. And I'm sure it will make sense in future episodes. But like for this episode, I was kind of struggling with her character and what was really going on with her in this episode.
It's almost like, she kills him, but it's almost like she's doing it for the greater good.
Yeah.
Like, I know I have to. It's like, I don't want to do this, but I'm doing this for the greater good, so I have to do it. And I think that's why she's emotionally present, she's crying, and she does it anyway, because she's been convinced in some way that this is the best option, the best solution to stop whatever thing she's supposed to stop. And, this kind of speaks to like the very juxtaposition of like motivations that we were talking about. It's like, well, she's going after Bruce Maddox, we think, because she loves him, but then at the same time, in the same episode, she kills him, and so it's definitely wild. I feel like it's gonna be one of those things that, like, as we go further on, maybe even towards the end of the season, it'll all come together. It'll all, like, all the pieces will fit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. I also just want to throw out there that I love seeing Alison Pill in Star Trek.
She's great.
I've been a big fan of hers for, I'd say past 3-4 years or so. I've seen her in quite a few other things, and I think she fits into this universe really well, and she's like doing a great job with this character. She just has that kind of like she just feels like a cybernetic, what do they call them? Cyberneticist scientist or whatever. She really does a great job with this character.
I like that she's kind of awkward and stuff about things. It's pretty great.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
like when she went to punch Rios back after she punched is there a little bit of like, is she trying to flirt with Rios?
Yes. I totally picked up on that.
I mean,
because like when he's rocking his outfit,
I
know I'm jumping ahead.
I know you're a straight man, but come on, look at him. And he was talking Spanish and stuff.
I can talk attractive. I can talk attractive men all day, Brooke. I have no problem with that. Yeah, no,
I know you don't, but it's like how could she not? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but on the flip, maybe she knows that Maddox is going to be dead, so might as well get with Rios.
Well, maybe. Well, in that scene, we see that's the next scene. I guess as they get closer to Free Cloud, they start getting all these like pop-up ads.
Oh, I love it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Raffi's is for like, drugs or whatever. And Agnes's was like an employment ad that she had a punch in the face or whatever, and she didn't want to do it. And then when she did it, she felt really empowered, and it was so funny because back to her like flirting, she's like, yeah, and she kind of like punches Rios in the arm, and she's like, and they high five or whatever. They're so excited, and it's just really adorable, and I love it. And Picard's got something about like a tea room or something, and then poor Elnor's like, I didn't get one.
He's such like an innocent little baby bird. Like, it's just
he is like, in this episode, he's like Drax in a way.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. And because of course he comes from that order of the way of absolute candor. So I love that he doesn't understand acting. Yeah. Like, he's like, so you're not really who you say you are.
We're lying.
And then like later on, he's like, "Are we still pretending?"
This show is really holding back with these last couple episodes with his swordsman skills. Like, it's, and we saw a little bit of it in that previous episode where he did like that flip, and oh my god, I am so in on this show because like I love samurai stuff, and so like now they're bringing in like it feels like a samurai story in a way. So
yeah, and it's so funny because this episode to me felt like a heist story.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of the heist story with like even a little bit of an Ocean's 11 vibe in the sense of like, we're all going to play a character and we're all going to sneak into this big giant casino and we're going to rob the place. Like, they have that element, and the show thematically, it does jump from being like a samurai story or like even a Western or like even the, One Last Job and They Pulled Me Back In story. It's like, it kind of got all of those themes going on.
Oh, I loved how they set this one up where it's like, okay, we're going to show them on Free Cloud, and then you're going to see a scene play out, and then we're going to go back to the ship. And we're gonna give you some dialogue about them talking about actually executing this plan. So like and it was just a back and forth of that, and
Oceans kind of things.
Totally, yeah. It's Rebecca nailed it. Like, it's totally Ocean's 11. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
I enjoy that this show takes advantage of that sort of back and forth storytelling. It really does keep the episodes from feeling heavy with exposition, because it's easy for a show or a movie to get weighed down with exposition if it's just characters talking for like 10 minutes explaining the plot. It's like, oh, it's so boring. But then if it's back and forth and intercut with other things, you are more entertained. You are sticking with it. And, like when Rios beams down and he's got that hat, he has that like feather in his hat because Seven told him, you need a feather in your hat. Like that kind of stuff is, and then like Raffi, it's almost, now it's like a Bond film. Raffi's Q and she's handing out, and here's your exploding pen, and here's your suitcase that turns into a gun, and here's, like she's handing out all the gadgets.
Yeah, she's giving them information. She's putting them in their costumes. She's like all of that. But can I go back just so I can make a joke that I made about the pop-ups?
Yes.
Go for it.
I put a joke in.
That's not how. Hey, Brooke. That's not how you set up a joke.
No, that's not how I set. That's how I set up a joke. That's why no one asked me to tell jokes. No, when they had their pop-up ads, I said they swiped them away as quickly as I did Clippy in Office 97.
Clippy. It looks like you're trying to create a document.
It looks like you're looking for some space weed. Thank you for laughing, and I had a terrible setup going back. Okay. That's what you're here for. But yeah, they find out that Bruce is being held, and they're looking for something called a facer to do business with someone else regarding him. So, they want to trade him for something, basically. And so that's why they decide to play dress up and do all this Ocean's 11 stuff. And you guys kind of went into, like, Rios' outfit. Like, the hat looked like it was a cartoon hat. I'm like, how can that look real but also animated at the same time?
It was like the hat from The Mask. Yes! Like, remember that Jim Carrey movie? It was like the hat from The Mask. It was.
Oh, it was.
Smoking.
Smoking. Like, it was just. Yeah, definitely this episode had a lot of cartoony moments, like especially with Picard with that eye patch and that crazy accent. I was very sinister. I was like, all right, calm down there, Pepe Le Pew. Like
the closed captioned called it a cartoonish accent.
Yeah,
and I thought that was hilarious.
Cartoonish French accent. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a quick question here. So basically, the only way that this meeting got set up is because they believed that he was a facer for the Tal Shiar, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what, and yeah, so that's where there was kind of like the
he was coming to apply with them to be the guy that talked to the Tal Shiar, but instead,
right through the Tal Shiar.
Yeah, but instead he's like, no.
Here's Frenchie.
Yeah. Frenchie, yes. Their whole plan, we find out their plan is that they're going to trade Seven to get Maddox back. And, when they show him on the ship talking about it, she can get out of the handcuffs and all that kind of thing. So it's like, then they can bust out of there or whatever. They also give Rio some beta blockers because Mr. Vup, the beta Inari, he can smell when you're lying. And he can smell what your last meal was. And he also knows who the last person you had sex was because he can smell all of that. So that's kind of creepy.
Did you notice that he also mentioned the beta blockers also had benzos in it? So basically he's high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh, yeah. He was.
She said that they'll kick in right when you need them. And it's like, as soon as he starts getting questioned and needs to lie, like he makes this face like, oh, yep, he's high now. Like it did kick in just then.
I just want to say Mr. Vup, the lizard guy,
Mm-hmm.
is super intimidating. Mm-hmm. Like from like the voice, the teeth, everything, super intimidating. I loved how they made the character. He's just huge, just like almost like like Kingpin from Daredevil.
Yeah.
Just
oh yeah.
And very menacing looking and just dangerous. And so, yeah, you're kind of like worried for Rios while this is kind of going on. And he mentions the references, and one of the references was Quark. I was like, that's awesome because what a shady character. So.
Well, there was when we see all the storefronts, like on Free Cloud, of course, it's all like holographic projections. There is a bar there that says Quark's Bar.
Mm.
There's a it's you kind of have to pause it and kind of really study it because there's a couple of little Easter eggs in that scene. So you see Quark's Bar, which there's a YouTuber out there who he said that maybe Quark franchised his bar from Deep Space Nine, and then it's like a Chili's or like an Applebee's, basically like a Quark's Bar. And then right next
or something.
Yes, of course, because he's a Ferengi. But then to the left of that, you do see Mr. Mott's Hair Emporium.
And the character's bald. What the? Did you notice that?
Yes, that is. So Mr. Mott was the barber on the Enterprise D. And he's a Bolian, and they are blue. They have blue skin, and they are all bald.
Yep.
So that was the big joke that Mott the barber was bald. And so that is definitely a little Easter egg. There's also a Dabo Palace, which that's a Ferengi like Ferengi roulette. And they played it a lot on Deep Space Nine. So little Easter eggs there in that scene with Free Cloud.
I thought it looked very, especially like with the holographic like woman dancing in the back. It reminded me of like Blade Runner. You know what I mean? Like
definite
vibes. Yeah.
Picard with his ridiculous accent and Eleanor being like, "Wait a minute, are we still pretending?" It's still funny.
Oh, Picard just looks so annoyed with him.
Yeah, that's who Rafi was really worried about. She's like, make sure he sticks to the script.
Yeah. I mean, Eleanor's just not cut out for this. I mean, he's way too candid. He's way too honest, and he's way too literal. So for him to try to be deceptive this way, it's just not in his nature, which is why he basically doesn't talk the whole time he's down there, because they're like, just don't say anything because you can't.
As we're doing the back and forth thing, we see Raffi as she's leaving. She's going to beam down. She's talking to Picard. I wrote that she's a slightly touching moment because it's like he's just like,